Welcome, my peeps, my peoples. Please like, comment, subscribe, share the video. It'd be greatly appreciated. It's Mary Jane. And let's talk about Gordon Ramsay 24 to Hell and Back, Season 1, Episode 8. I just saw this show and I just wanted to talk about it. It was like, Gordon and Kitchen Nightmares and all that other stuff. I used to watch that so much. And basically, two restaurants I went to was on Kitchen Nightmares, and I was shocked. They're closed down now, but it's like, damn. And I don't even understand why people keep going on this show. I think it's because, they're going to get a makeover, they're going to get a facelift, they're going to fix up the restaurant, do right by the restaurant too as well, and it's going to get a lot of public attention. And also having Gordon Ramsay at your restaurant and helping you can bring a lot of attention to your restaurant too as well. But if your kitchen is nasty, dirty, and filthy, and you got rats, you got roaches, you got flies, you got bugs, you got all that other stuff, why come on the show? Why have you got rotten food, mice, all types of roaches? Like, you guys remember Kitchen Nightmares and Hotel Hell with Gordon Ramsay? I couldn't even believe some of the people was even working and cooking. The health department came on one episode and cut and closed down a restaurant. So, and out of the, Kitchen Nightmares, most of the restaurants are closed. As you can see on the slideshow, there's some that are still open, but I think Gordon Ramsay, he comes to the restaurants to save them when it's kind of like too late. They're too much in debt. But, I enjoyed the show. I like watching the show. I remember one episode he was in Canada and he loved this woman's food. I was like, oh my God, but Gordon Ramsay will eat anything. The half of the shit that he be putting in his mouth, I would never do it. But he gets paid millions and millions and millions of dollars to do it. So I might change my mind, right? So let's start off with Gordon Ramsay. He's going to Sacramento, California. He's going to, I believe her name is Sandra Dee's restaurant in Sacramento. Is a soul food restaurant. She runs the restaurant with both of her two daughters. One name is Tatiana, and she is 28 years old. She has another daughter named Leah that's 32. And basically this restaurant, Sandra Dee's restaurant's been open for about 19 years. So that means that this woman knows what she's doing. Like, she was good at one point in time. Like, she didn't need no Gordon Ramsay help or be on a TV show for 19 years. And she actually opened her restaurant in 1998. And she sells soul food, comfort food, good food, supposedly. Well, not supposedly, because she's been open for 19 years. And she said recently in the last year, that's when she stopped seeing a profit in the restaurant and things just started to go bad. So one of these people, on either her daughter or her, I don't know which one, they said, call Gordon Ramsay. Like, if I would have called him, if I had my own restaurant, I need to call him for help or whatever, for promotion, a facelift, fix my restaurant, help me, give me some consulting, pots, pans, grills, remodel, and giving that PA system with all iPads. Like, I'm on, if my food's gonna be shitty, one thing is my restaurant's gonna be clean. It's gonna be clean. I remember there's two episodes off of Kitchen Nightmares where the restaurant was actually up to par. It was one Jamaican lady and another lady, African American lady down south, and it was a rib, spot. I mean, it was absolutely spotless. They didn't even have to clean. Like, so you can crack on my food, but or maybe I got lazy around here, but nastiness is a no, because once you see that nastiness on TV, you don't want to go back to these restaurants. Like, but you hoping that they would change and you want to give them another shot. So let's talk. So what Gordon Ramsay does different than Kitchen Nightmares. He actually he does surveillance for about like 3 weeks. He put cameras in. He pretend like they're coming there to see if they're suitable, for the show or whatever. And then they just record everything that's going on in the restaurant. And nobody knows, not the owners, not the staff. Nobody knows. And he's just watching it. And then he'll pull up in this big ass bus or RV that is equipped to, serve the masses. Like, if you had a food truck, this food truck that Gordon Ramsay has on the show, as a food truck you want to have, you'll make millions of dollars. And so, he'll pose up with his truck, and then, he'll watch everything you do, and then he'll bring you outside. So basically, he's watching the daughter, her youngest daughter is 28, Tatiana. She's really mean. She's disrespectful. She talks to the staff like they ain't nobody. She calls them bitches. She calls them stupid. Get out the way. She cuss out the customer. She calls them names. She hangs up on them. This is what they showed on the episode. They could have added some things out. They could have made it bigger than what it was, because it has to have some type of and some type of drama for it actually to be on TV. If you don't have no drama, nobody is not watching. And so you see her, but her attitude is like so mean, and she's such a pretty young woman, but she looks so mean and so angry and so upset and mad at the world. But like, damn, what are you mad at? Like, you got a job, you working, you living off your mom and all this other stuff. Why are you so angry? And then the other sister, her name is Leah. She's actually 32 years old. She's nice, she's sweet, she's kind, she gives a kind word, and she's like the medium between the mother and the other sister. Like, she's just like a breath of fresh air. And I believe that maybe she was raised differently than her younger sister, because she was probably, when she was raised with her mom and her father, her mom just started this restaurant, business was good, she was making money, life was good, things were a lot more easy and simple. There probably was less problems and less worries, where her mother can show her the sweet, kind, wonderful side of her, and her father was probably more involved in everything. And then the next daughter comes out, which is Tatiana. She probably just came around when things started to get tough. Mother get drained, mother's worn out, mother's tired, she's going through so many trials and tribulations, and she just get the negative side of the mother raised. That's what it seems like, because the daughter's a total opposite. And the mother, Sandra Dee, she also says, Mrs. Johnson, she says that, she's not really a negative person, she's not really a mean person, like, she like positivity, this is not really her. But in the kitchen, like, she be cussing out her staff, yelling at them, calling them names, talking about, you can't hear, you don't listen, and you can't see, get the hell out my way, don't, I mean cussing like shit. If I was working in that restaurant, they wouldn't have fired me, but we would have been going toe to toe, back to back, because you ain't gonna be disrespecting me and talking to me like I ain't nobody. Just like, and they just casually, the mom, Sandra Dee, and her daughter Tatiana just talk to people like they ain't nobody, like they ain't no consequences out here, just like woo. And then Sandra Dee was like, she was getting mad at Gordon Ramsay, and she was all like, he coming here attacking me, whatever. He don't know I'm from the streets. Look, what you mean you from the streets? You don't call this man to come in here and help you with your damn restaurant. Now you talk about you want to kick his ass. I was like, oh no, like way too much. And then she has two assistant cooks. One assistant cook, his name is actually I think his name is David. He's 46 years old. And then the other cook, his name is Rodney, and he's actually 51 years old, and they're line cooks. And actually they show, and they edit in the show where it seems like, David, that's a 46, that's the line cook, he actually can cook better than Sandra Dee. He actually knows his way around the kitchen. He's actually way better than her as a cook. So maybe she should take a break and let him run business, let him, do the food or whatever, and she take a break from the cooking. Because when they were showing her practice cooking and learning the new menu, it looked like it was hard, it was difficult, she was tired, just seemed like she's exhausted, like she's just fed up, like she's just tired, just way too much. Things are not going like the way they're supposed to go, and that shit does happen to the best of us. When you can be on cloud nine for years and all of a sudden you get that whoop, sometimes problems and situations develop over time. You keep fighting them off, you keep defeating them, and then you get to a point where sometimes you just give in, you give up, you just tired, because you always know it's going to be trials and tribulations. So moving on from that, they have a so basically the mom is just, Sandra Dee, she's actually just yelling, and she got like a bad attitude. And then Tatiana, she got some bad attitude, and they asked her about her attitude, and she was like, well, people say that I'm moody, whatever. She looks like she's going through menopause and shit, like 24/7, 7 days a week. That's the way they edit her out, and she's just so rude and so nonchalant. People that's actually trying to bring in money to her establishment, put money in her pocket, in her mom's pocket, her family's pocket, she's actually disrespecting them. She don't want to talk to them. She just rude. She acts like, they're doing her a favor, when it actually, if no one shows up, she doesn't have a job, and her parents will be out. Because actually Sandra Dee, she actually threw back $300,000 back into her restaurant, and then she had to remortgage her house, and she was like, it's just like starting all over again, because it's like she got all these brand new loans. Everything was paid off at once upon a time, but I guess things just slowly dwindled downhill, and so she had to take out these loans and things. But one thing I can say, the kitchen was dirty, but I have seen worse. And these restaurants listed are closed on Kitchen Nightmare this restaurant was clean compared to them. And so she has a waiter. His name is Tyler. He's like 22. He's telling all the business. He's a Caucasian male. He's just like, yeah, she got a bad attitude. Like, the food looks bad. The food looks terrible. But I got to serve it because if I don't, I get yelled at. And he was like, the food has went downhill. Everybody's complains about this shit. They wonder why I don't got no money. The food and the attitudes. I was like, damn, does he still got his job? He was going in. He wasn't playing around. And so then, Gordon, he changes his outfit. Like, so Gordon Ramsay, he doesn't come into the restaurant like he usually come into the restaurant so you can see him. Because he said people act like, they're on their best behavior. So he dresses up like in character in a uniform. So he dressed up as a construction worker with more construction guys that came with him. They went in, they ordered the food. The daughter Tatiana, she was nasty and she was rude. Gordon was trying to like get one of the waiters' attention and he just totally ignored him. I think he was Latin American. So she asked Sandra Dee, she actually employs, African Americans, melanin people, Latino Americans, Asians, blacks, and whites in her restaurant. Blacks and whites. That's just really sound bad to me for a second. So, anyways, and this is the new menu, and she don't want to deal with it. So, anyways, so she has also, Gordon Ramsay, he's there with the construction workers and everything, and he's ordering food. He ordered calamari, and it was all soaked in grease. It was all soggy and shit. The macaroni looked terrible. That's the calamari right there. Look how awful and nasty that looked. And he squeezed in oil and shit came out. The macaroni didn't even look like macaroni. They were talking about the ribs were dry. They're talking about they microwaved the calamari. They was talking about the vegetables are from a can. And then they go back to the kitchen. You see that they're microwaving food. How do you microwave ribs? Like, who goes to a restaurant and want microwave ribs or chicken and microwave beans? If we want that, we could do that at home. I don't have a microwave, so I can't use one because I'm trying to fight all pollution, as much pollution I possibly can fight. So so with this situation, so the food, this is not soul food. I don't remember none of my aunties and myself when I ever made soul food that we use microwaves and shit like that. And then they got a smokehouse. I grew up with a smokehouse. They got a smokehouse. They got a pit, and they're microwaving ribs. I would be so pissed. I would be throwing my ribs all over the floor if you brought me some microwave ribs. Are you kidding me? Like, whoa, where they do that at? And then they use jarred cheese, like, canned cheese, like a big ass gallon of canned cheese to make macaroni. When do you make macaroni with canned cheese? You're supposed to use 3, 4, 5 different types of cheeses and all the other stuff that go with it. That's macaroni is a staple and soul food. And they sit there using canned cheese, and Gordon, he could taste it all, and he was just so disgusted. And then so he was complaining to the daughter Tatiana about the food, and the other workers were complaining too as well about how their food was unappetizing. And so the daughter Tatiana, she went back there, she told her mother then came out and said, oh, you don't like my food? The only person to talk about my food and call my food shit is me. So you know what? Good day, good riddance. The bill is on us. She said a lot more, but they edit so they can make, I think her name is Sandra Dee look bad. Like, so there's editing. So we also got to be aware there is editing to make these women probably look in the worst light. But the daughter Leah, she was in the greatest light ever. Like, from the beginning to the end, she looked astounding, and she had wonderful, wonderful behaviors and manners. So that's why I said, the daughters were raised on 2 different mothers. At one time the mother was happy. The second time she was stressed out. So we have that situation go on. So then Gordon goes into the bathroom. He comes out and he's like, I'm Gordon. And he was like, do you like cooking? Do you like this? And he's like questioning. He was like, how do you treat your customers like this? How do you do that? And do you even care? She was like, yeah, I do care. And he was like, how do you care? Serving microwave food? How do you care? And she was like, I do care. What are you talking about? He was like, what, serving soggy caramel? And so he was like, how do you care serving, stale ribs and burnt chicken? The food was halfway burnt. I was like, so what happened? He was like, so where, because, soul food, you're supposed to put your soul in it. What's going on? And she was just like, oh, my food is good. You know how they go. They always say their food is good. And so then now he was like, he got all the stuff together and he's talking to them. He's like, we're going to do a revamp. None of you guys are leaving in 24 hours. You're going to stay here. You're going to stay put. You're going to clean. You're going to fix this place up. You're going to help design. You're going to help straighten this place up. Because before, usually the staff goes home and the owner goes home and they come back and the place is brand new. But this time they're making them work. So there was like, Gordon was like, get on the phone, call your peoples and tell them you ain't coming home tonight. So they're standing there and he shows them on a big TV screen how they act terrible. The mom is crying, the mom's sad, or some of the workers are sad too as well, because it's just showing them just absolutely being horrible. But not all the workers were bad or terrible or anything like that. And then you had David and Rodney, the line cooks. They talk about that they be bullied by her. Then they show Sandra Johnson bullying them, yelling at them, and talking about be quiet, shut up. I mean, she just just demeaning these men and just like emasculating them. I was just like, whoa, this is just like way too much. I was like, and she was like a pit out of hell. She was running through that place talking all types of shit. But she also said that she had anxiety and things like that. So, the staff is just like, the staff feels like, okay, some of the staff feels like they're happy things are going to change. Tyler, he don't really think things are going to change, but he's hoping and he's snitching like it ain't nobody's business. And another staff member was like, I got into Tatiana. I felt threatened. I thought she was going to hit me. And Tatiana was like, oh, whatever. It's like they don't really care what they're saying. So then they start to clean up and they go in the kitchen and there's rotten food. They show the canned fucking cheese, the canned, peas and beans. They show rotten fish, rotten chicken that they were cooking and serving and putting on people's plate that night. I was like, damn. Then they go into the storage place and there's blood all over there from the chicken, from the beef, whatever, just falling all over the floor. The chicken is just souring and rotten in its own, and then it was like, Gordon was like, you don't smell this? You don't smell none of this? Like, you know what? You can't smell it because you smell it every day. And the food, look at the walls in that place. Look at the decoration. The place looked horrendous too as well. It was nothing looking good about this restaurant. So they go into the storage room or whatever where they got the meat at, and it was just like a whole ass chicken on the floor. It was just disgusting. It was just nasty. Then they go to the pit area where they smoke the meat. They got a smoker. They got a big ass grill outside, and they use a microwaves. And the grill was filthy and nasty. And then right next to the grill was a gas container, and actually bleach could be a bomb and blow up. And everybody's like, Jay could have been sitting in there one day. Somebody tipped something over, a fell or a light went on and blew up that damn restaurant. So, like, he was like, this is dangerous. You could have a bomb in here. So, it was just horrendous. I was just like, damn, they could at least, if you call Gordon Ramsay, from that moment that you call him, the moment that you decide to call him, just make sure the place is clean. That's all you got to do. Everything else can stay the same, but make sure the place is clean and you don't have rotten food or rotten meat, because people will think you go back to your old behavior. I wouldn't trust it, but sometimes you got to give people a second chance. I don't know. So, anyways, they're going through the place and they're cleaning. It looks just nasty. And she's embarrassed. And she was like, the staff's supposed to do this. The staff was like, I don't know. They act like they ain't never cleaned that place in years. And you got David and you got Rodney. The kitchen is filthy. The grease is all over the place. That's why the food was greasy, oily, because there's oil all over the grill, all over the stove. It was just disgusting. So anyways, now they go outside, and then Gordon Ramsay is going to change the menu and make it a better, simple, less complicated menu. And it looked good. Like the crab cakes look good, the fish look good, the smoked chicken look good, the macaroni looked good, the cornbread looked good. It looked 1,000 times better than the food that they were serving earlier in the episode. I mean, the food that they were preparing outside that Gordon was teaching them how to make looks 1,000,000 times better than the food that they were serving before Gordon came into that restaurant. So, anyways, Sandra Dee Johnson, she was having a hard time, learning the situation. It seemed like they didn't really show if Rodney was progressing, but they kept the cameras on David, that he was actually excellent, he was good. And then the cooks that was in there showing them how to do everything, how to, cook the new menu, was saying that, Mrs. Johnson, Sandra Dee, was like really kind of like bad. Like, you could tell she hasn't cooked in a long time. Like, it was awful. They was telling, she was like, you're burning this, you're burning that. But they actually was there for almost 24 hours, because they got 24 hours to get it together. I got 24 hours to get this shit right, to get it together. So that's what happened. And then after that, he did the decorations. He gave them, like, dishes, pots, pans, a galore, fry cookers, blenders, mixers, choppers, cutting boards, plates, dishes, bowls, pots, pans, everything. And also gave them a PA system that all the staff get iPods, and they get to register, and they get to work through this PA system, and it actually turn over tables while they're not even looking, and they'll make money even quicker. When they're not even looking, they'll be making money. So, and then on top of that, they redecorated the whole place. Sandra Dee did not like it. She thought it was terrible. She thought it was awful. And she did not like the menu as well. So after Gordon left, she went back to her old ways. She changed her menu back to the way it was. And then she said that she knew that Gordon Ramsay was going to come there and change the decor, change her menu. She wouldn't have invited him. She wouldn't have had him there. She would have said no. And she said that she's good and her daughter's good to the customers. And she also said she was going to fire her daughter. But then, she just kept her daughter working, Tatiana. Tatiana did cry and apologize to her mother for running away her business. And, Sandra Dee said her recipes are much better than, her old school recipes that have been passed down from her grandmother to her great grandmother are actually better than Gordon's. And then won't you cook like him? Because, they didn't give you canned cheese, and they didn't give you beans in a can and rotten food, because rotten food, serving rotten chicken or whatever. So hopefully if she goes back to cooking that way, she can boost up her restaurant. But they also said that the ratings of the restaurant went up for a little while after they kept the new things in order. Then after a while, the ratings have gone back down. She went back to her old ways. I don't know if they're still using the PS system. They changed the menu went back to normal. I would have kept the new menu, and I would have kept like 3 or 4 things that was signature dishes of the restaurant, and people absolutely come in to eat, and I turn a profit on. I wouldn't have threw out his entire menu, because it was easier, simple, and it looked pretty, and it looked elegant. The restaurant looked so much nicer, so much friendlier. But I don't know if the daughter, Tatiana, she actually friendly. I hope her restaurant stays open. I hope she gets customers. But she really had a nasty attitude, and probably because sometimes it's hard to accept change, and it's hard to accept that you have wronged yourself, like you have did wrong, like this is your business, this is your restaurant, you had let it go, and then actually coming to the realization while cameras are on you that you actually messed up, and you could lose your business. Because she said she was going through anxiety when they revamped the restaurant, and she wanted to quit when they reopened the restaurant and had all the customers come in, that she was nervous, she was having anxiety. She almost quit, but she didn't. That's how they edited it. I don't know if that's true, but they got through it. People loved the new restaurant, they loved the decor, they loved everything. So I wish her the best of luck. Look at that rotten ass chicken with all that juice just sitting there, like Peace, I'm out.